Have you ever lain awake at night, staring at the ceiling, trapped in a storm of thoughts you can't escape? Maybe you smiled all day, but inside your head a voice kept whispering, "You're not enough. You'll fail again. Nobody really cares." You try to push it away, distract yourself, even fight it, but the more you fight, the louder it gets. And you wonder, why can't I just stop thinking like this? What's wrong with me? The truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not weak. What's broken is the way you were taught to think. From childhood, your mind has been silently recording fear, pain, rejection, and shame. And now, as an adult, those old recordings play on repeat, disguised as your own voice. That's why you feel stuck. That's why you feel trapped in loops of self-doubt, fear, and regret. But here's the secret. You don't have to live this way. You don't have to let your thoughts control you. Once you understand where negativity comes from, how it traps you, and how to break the cycle, you can reprogram your mind to work for you instead of against you. This isn't about fake positivity. It's about learning the simple, powerful steps to silence the lies in your head and replace them with truths that set you free. This is the story of how to stop negative thoughts, not with motivational cliches, but with real strategies, deep understanding, and small daily actions that will transform the way you think, feel, and live. Welcome to this message. It may be the most powerful thing you ever hear, not because of difficult words or magic tricks, but because it is about you. It is about the fight happening inside your own mind every day. Think about this. Have you ever felt like your brain is not your friend? Like it works against you? You try to stay positive, but something inside keeps pulling you back into sadness, fear, regret, and endless worrying thoughts. Maybe you have smiled in front of others while inside your head you were screaming. Maybe you have gone to bed at night and the same painful thoughts keep repeating. You whisper to yourself, "Why can't I stop these thoughts? What is wrong?" Here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not weak, broken, or crazy. The only problem is the way you were taught to think. That way of thinking is broken. That is the real enemy inside your mind. What we are going to do together is simple but powerful. We are not going to read random quotes or fake positive words. Instead, we will carefully understand the mind. We will learn step by step how to take back control. You will not only learn how to stop negative thinking, you will also understand how your mind really works, how to change your emotions, and how to create a new version of yourself, starting right now with simple, clear steps. And yes, if you are learning English, this will also help you, because everything here is explained in simple English with real examples and stories. You will not only grow stronger inside, you will grow smarter in English too. So, take a deep breath. What you are about to hear may be exactly what your heart has been waiting for all your life. The first step is understanding where negative thoughts come from. Most people fight the wrong battle. Many people say, "I must stop thinking, I should be stronger, I should be happy." But that never works. Negative thoughts do not come from the outside world. They come from inside, from a part of your brain called the subconscious. Here is something shocking. 95% of your thoughts and feelings, behaviors, are controlled by your subconscious mind. That means you are fully aware for only 5% of your day. The rest runs automatically, like a hidden program. So what is the subconscious mind? Imagine it like a recording machine. From the moment you were a child, it started recording everything around you. It did not ask permission. It simply stored all your experiences, both good and bad. It recorded the way your parents spoke to you. It recorded how your teacher reacted when you made a mistake. It recorded how people treated you when you failed. It recorded the pain of being laughed at, ignored, or rejected. Every little moment was quietly saved. And now, When you are grown, those old recordings play inside your head as your thoughts, even though you may not remember the original moment. So when you say, "I'm not good enough, I always fail, I will never be successful, nobody really loves me," those words are not really from you. They're just old recordings playing again and again in your subconscious mind. Let me give you an example. Daniel is 26. He's smart, kind, and funny. But every time he starts something new, a job, a project, a relationship, he gives up. Why? Because a voice in his head tells him to stop. That voice says, "You are a failure. Why even try? You will embarrass yourself again. You are not good enough for this." And Daniel believes the voice. He listens and obeys, even though it hurts his life again and again. But here is what Daniel does not remember. When he was 9 years old, he had to stand in front of his class to give a school presentation. He was nervous, his hands were shaking, and his voice was trembling. He tried his best, but he read one word wrong. The whole class laughed. Even the teacher smiled at his mistake. That single moment cut deep into his young heart and became a scar inside his subconscious mind without him even realizing. That moment became a memory. The memory became a belief, and the belief became the voice he still hears today. Every time something goes wrong, the old recording tells him he is a failure. It controls his actions without his permission. Now you see where negative thoughts come from. They are not random, and they are not who you really are. They are simply old memories replaying again and again, tricking you into believing they are the truth of your life. But here is the good news. Once you understand this, you can start to change it. You can learn to stop listening to the lies of your subconscious mind and begin to write a new story filled with truth and strength. Daniel went home crying that day, and he never told anyone what happened. But that single moment stayed inside him forever. It became a scar in his subconscious mind. That scar grew into a voice, and that voice became belief. That belief controlled Daniel's actions, his choices, and his future without him even knowing. That is what negative thoughts are. They are not the truth. They are old pain wearing a mask, pretending to be the truth of who you are. So what can you do when these thoughts come? You do not fight them like they are enemies. Instead, you study them like a detective. You ask questions and you try to discover where they truly came from inside you. The next time you hear yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," stop and ask yourself, where did this thought first come from? Who made me believe this idea? What memory or old moment in my life is connected to it? Because once you discover the source of a thought, it begins to lose its power. It is no longer a big monster in the dark. It becomes a small shadow from the past, and shadows cannot control you once you see them. Here is a small task for you tonight. Take 10 minutes. Sit somewhere quiet with a piece of paper. At the top, write this question. What are the 3 negative thoughts that I think the most every single day? After writing them, ask yourself about each one. Where did this come from? Who taught me this idea? You might be shocked at what you discover. You will realize that most of your painful thoughts did not even come from you. They came from someone else's voice, someone else's mistake, someone else's fear. They have been living inside you rent-free for years, taking up space in your mind. But once you see them clearly, you can stop giving them that space. You must understand this truth. You cannot fix your mind
unless you understand it first. You cannot silence your thoughts unless you follow them to their roots. Only then can you see that most of them are simply old programming. Once you understand that 95% of your thoughts are automatic recordings, you realize something powerful. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them. And if you are the listener, then you can rewrite them any time. But there is another problem. Even when people learn positive habits like journaling or affirmations, they often still feel stuck. They say, "Why do I feel the same no matter how hard I try?" This is because of something called the loop. A loop is an invisible trap inside the mind. It is a cycle of thoughts, emotions, and reactions that keep feeding each other. It's like a song stuck in your head. The more you try to stop it, the louder it becomes. Let's understand how this loop works. First, there's a trigger. Something small happens. Maybe you get ignored, make a mistake, or see someone doing better than you. That small event opens the door to a familiar, painful emotion. Then comes the thought. Your mind quickly pulls up an old belief. I am not good enough. People don't care about me. I always mess things up. That thought produces an emotion. You feel shame, sadness, anger, fear, or loneliness. After the emotion, there is the reaction. You react in a negative way. Maybe you hide from others, scroll endlessly on your phone, eat junk food, cry quietly, or overthink everything. These actions give you a little comfort, but also more pain.
Soon guilt and shame appear. You think, why did I do this again? Why can't I control myself? Why am I so weak? And that guilt becomes the next trigger. The loop starts again, trapping you in a circle that never ends. This is why some people wake up already tired. They open social media and start comparing themselves to others. They make one small mistake, and their entire day feels ruined. The loop is already controlling their thoughts, emotions, and actions. The more they try to fight or escape, the worse it feels, because resisting the loop only makes it stronger. The more you resist, the more it persists. And this is why people feel like they are always going in circles. Let me tell you about Amira, a 24-year-old student. She had a bright heart and a beautiful soul. But she was trapped in a very tight loop. She lived her days believing her pain was real, when it was only a trap. Here is what her day looked like. She would wake up, look in the mirror, and think, my face looks so tired. I'm ugly. Then she would go to university, see other people laughing, and think, why don't I have friends like that? She would try to focus in class. But if she made one small mistake, she immediately thought, now everyone thinks I'm stupid. Later, she would go home and open Instagram. She would see a girl and think, she is so pretty and confident. She would see couples online and think, look at them, they are happy. I'm not good enough to have that. Finally, at night, she would cry quietly in her bed so no one would hear. She carried the pain all by herself. The truth is, none of these things were real threats. They were not dangers. They were only mental traps created by her subconscious. But her loop was so strong that she thought it was reality. She believed the lies completely. That is the tragedy of the loop. It makes you think that your pain is your fault. It makes you feel ashamed of your emotions, guilty for being sad, and weak for needing help. It makes you forget who you really are. When you stay inside the loop for too long, you stop trying to escape it. You begin to build a home inside it. You start believing, this is just who I am. I am negative. I cannot change.
This is how people remain stuck for years. They mistake the loop for their true personality. But you do not escape a loop by fighting the thought itself. You escape it by breaking the cycle at its weakest point. So what is the weakest point? It is not the trigger, because you cannot always control what happens around you. It is not the thought, because thoughts come without asking. It is not the emotion, because feelings arrive naturally. The weakest point is the reaction. You always have the power to choose how you respond. You may not stop the thought instantly, but you can choose whether to feed it or walk away from it. That choice changes everything. Let's go back to Amira. She used to react with tears, endless scrolling, and silence. But one day she learned something simple from a therapist. When the thought comes, do not argue with it. Just say, interesting thought. The next morning, she looked in the mirror. The voice inside said, "You look terrible." This time she did not cry, she did not shout back, and she did not believe it. Instead, she smiled a little and whispered, interesting thought. She then made herself a cup of tea. She played one happy song. She put on earrings she liked. At school, she made eye contact with someone and said, "Hi." That one small decision gave her control, even for a moment. The loop did not break forever that day, but for that short time, Amira won. And one small victory creates another. The more times you interrupt the reaction, the weaker the loop becomes. Slowly, the loop loses its power over you. Tonight, you can try this. Ask yourself, what is one loop I live in every day? What usually triggers it? What thought follows? What emotion do I feel? And finally, what reaction do I repeat that keeps the loop alive? Then, write down one small action you will do differently next time. It doesn't need to be big. It can be simple, kind, and real. Even tiny changes can break the pattern and give you space to breathe again. For example, instead of hiding, you might talk to one person. Instead of scrolling online for hours, you might take a short walk outside. Instead of saying, "I am a failure," you might gently say, "I am still learning." Even the smallest interruption breaks the machine. Remember, you are not weak, lazy, or doomed. You were simply caught in a pattern that you didn't realize existed. But now you see it. And knowing the pattern gives you power to change it.
Once you can see the loop, you can step outside of it. But there is another truth we must face. Many people try to stop negative thoughts while secretly feeding the very things that create them. They poison their own minds daily. It is like drinking poison every morning and asking, "Why do I feel sick?" You cannot heal your mind if you keep feeding it garbage. You cannot create peace if your lifestyle is designed to produce stress, fear, and comparison every day. Think of your mind as a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. Whatever you water will become stronger. Whatever you allow in will shape the whole space. If you plant weeds, weeds will grow. If you plant flowers, flowers will bloom. So ask yourself honestly, what am I planting in my mind every day? What thoughts am I watering with attention? What kind of content do I feed myself? What garbage do I leave in my garden that stops peace and joy from growing? If you fill your mind with fear-based news, toxic social media, fake perfection, gossip videos, sad songs, or dark messages, what do you expect to grow? Joy? Confidence? Peace? Impossible. You cannot grow flowers in poisoned soil. Let me give you an image that may stay with you.
Imagine a room with a huge black mirror on the wall. Each morning, you stand before it. But this mirror does not show your real face. It shows your deepest insecurity instead. It magnifies your worst fear. It whispers your hidden pain. And you keep looking at it every morning and every night, letting it decide how you feel about yourself. You never question it. You just believe what it shows. That mirror is your phone. It is the post that says you are not pretty enough, the video that says you are behind in life, the comment that says you will never succeed. And here's the sad truth. You chose to look. You keep that mirror with you all the time. It stays in your pocket, next to your pillow, inside your daily life. And then you wonder why your mind feels broken. The truth is, you are feeding the enemy inside. You feed it with your time, your energy, and your attention. Most people don't even realize they are feeding negativity. But they do it every day in 3 main ways, and slowly it steals their peace without them noticing. The first way is information overload, also called digital poison. You scroll on your phone for hours and remember nothing important. But your brain remembers everything. Even if you say, "I'm just watching for fun," your subconscious is recording everything silently. It records thoughts like, "Her face is perfect, mine isn't. He is successful, I'm behind. That couple looks so happy, I'm lonely. That man bought a new car, I'm broke." These messages slowly plant seeds of insecurity inside you without your control. You don't feel it right away, but after days or weeks, you feel tired, insecure, or empty. Not because of your real life, but because of what you have been consuming through screens, videos, and endless comparisons to other people. The second way is toxic repetition. Think about the songs, shows, or videos you watch every day. Music is powerful. Words are powerful. But what are you repeating into your head? Many songs say things like, "Nobody loves me, I'm broken." You may tell yourself, "It's just a song, it doesn't matter." But your brain doesn't understand the word just. It only understands what is repeated often. Repetition is programming. Many people unknowingly program their own sadness one lyric at a time. The third way is your mental diet. Your daily conversations shape your emotions. If you always talk about what you hate, who hurt you, why life is unfair, or how everything is going wrong, you are feeding your brain pure negativity. Negativity then becomes your default language. Imagine if every meal you ate was unhealthy. Your body would suffer. The same happens with your mind. If your daily food is only complaints and drama, your brain cannot grow peace, hope, or motivation. Let me tell you a short story. Once there was a glass of clear, pure water. It looked peaceful and clean. Then one day, someone dropped one drop of black ink inside. The water changed slightly, but still looked okay. The next day, another drop was added. Then another, and another. Slowly, the water turned darker. Not because it was evil, but because it was being poisoned little by little. This is exactly what happens inside your mind every day. Your mind is that glass of water. The ink is the content you consume, the words you repeat, the people you spend time with, the notifications you see first thing in the morning, and the videos you watch before falling asleep. You did not become negative overnight. You were quietly fed poison, one drop at a time. But now that you see this clearly, you can choose differently. You can decide to stop feeding the enemy and start protecting your own mind.
Here is what you can do starting today. Clean your feed like you would clean your fridge. You wouldn't eat rotten food, so why keep rotten content? Unfollow pages that hurt your peace. Mute fake perfection. Delete apps if you must. Your peace is more important than staying updated. Do not only remove bad content, replace it with something that builds you. Watch real growth stories. Listen to calming or positive music. Read even one page of a good book. Feed your mind healing words. Also, create a morning and night detox. The first 30 minutes after waking and the last 30 minutes before sleep are when your mind is most open to programming. Do not fill those moments with endless scrolling, chaos, or comparison. Instead, start your day with stillness. Take a breath. Write 3 things you are thankful for. Say one powerful sentence to yourself, like, "Today, I protect my mind." End your day the same way, with peace instead of noise. Your small changes will create big transformation. Tonight, ask yourself honestly, what 3 things am I feeding my mind that are hurting me? Then ask, what will I feed my mind instead, starting today? This simple step can change your life. Your mind is not broken. It has simply been badly fed for too long. You are not the darkness. You are the light that has been buried under layers of noise. Now it is time to feed your inner strength again. Because thoughts are like seeds. What you plant today will grow tomorrow. If you plant fear, fear will grow. If you plant peace, peace will grow. You have the power to choose what kind of garden your mind becomes. Now, let's think about daily cleaning. You brush your teeth every morning, right? You take showers, change your clothes, maybe clean your room or wash the dishes. If you didn't, your body would smell, your home would get dirty, and you'd feel uncomfortable. But here's the question. When was the last time you cleaned your mind? Not your phone, not your bookshelf, not your to-do list, but the actual space inside your head, the place where you live every hour, every minute of your life. Because the truth is, you don't really live in your house. You live in your mind. And if you never clean it, you will be living in a mental home that feels heavy, anxious, noisy, painful, and confusing, even if your outside life looks fine. So today, you must clean your inner room. Not just when you break down, not just when you feel depressed, not just when you cannot take it anymore, but every single day. Cleaning your mind must become a daily habit, like brushing your soul. Let me take you a little deeper. Many people believe negative thoughts only come from big, painful events, but that is not true. They also come from small things that build up over time. Little by little, they collect like dust. Think about your house. Even if you don't open the windows, dust will still settle on your furniture. The same thing happens in your mind. Mental dust gathers quietly from daily life. If you don't clean it, it piles up. This dust may be a stressful conversation you had, a decision you are avoiding, a deadline you fear, or a future event you are overthinking. It may be a compliment you did not believe, or a comment that hurt but you ignored. It could also be a quiet fear that entered your heart without permission. Maybe it was a judgment you made about yourself in the morning. You didn't choose it, but it landed inside your mind and now it stays in your space. When you don't clean these small pieces, stress builds in layers. At first you ignore it, but slowly you feel more irritated. Small things make you angry, your emotions become sensitive. One careless sentence from someone can break you completely. You begin to feel tired for no clear reason. Your mind is carrying too much. Joy becomes harder to feel because there is no room for it. Slowly, you stop enjoying life because everything feels heavy and too difficult to handle. Without realizing it, you stop being yourself. You stop laughing freely. You stop dancing without worry. You stop speaking with confidence. You stop trusting your own ideas. You stop dreaming, not because you are lazy, but because your mind feels crowded. Imagine a small room filled with 100 open boxes. Each box contains something from your mind. One has a painful memory. Another has an unfinished goal. Another has your money worries. Another has the conversation you are avoiding. Another holds rejection. One box contains a thought you had at 3 in the morning. Another has guilt you carry. Another hides your secret self-doubt. Now imagine trying to relax in that room. You can't. There is no space to breathe comfortably. This is what happens to your mind when you never clean it. The mental boxes stay open, filling your inner room with noise and weight. But the good news is you can clean it daily with simple practices anyone can do. These practices need no app, no special tools, no therapist. Only you, your awareness, and your choice. The first practice is the thought shelf method. When a thought keeps repeating, don't fight it. Gently place it on a mental shelf. Tell yourself, this does not need to be solved right now. I'll place it here, and it will wait. You are not ignoring the thought. You are giving it a safe place so it doesn't float around endlessly in your head. The second practice is the temperature check. Once a day, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? Why might I be feeling this? Even if the answer is unclear, awareness matters. Awareness itself cleans confusion. Do this daily, like checking the weather before you leave home. You might be shocked to see how many feelings you hold silently inside. Naming them gives them space to move, instead of hiding and hurting you. The third practice is the one-word dump. You don't need to write long journals. Sometimes one word is enough. Before sleep, write a single word that describes your main feeling today. Heavy, rushed, lonely, hopeful, frustrated, calm. That word clears weight. Naming your feeling is the first step to releasing it. Once you can call it by name, you can choose what to do with it. You stop carrying hidden clutter because one word shines a light on the dark corners of your mind. The fourth practice is the 3-minute mental walkthrough. Each evening, close your eyes and mentally walk through your day. See yourself waking up. Remember breakfast. Think about who you spoke to. Notice when your mood changed. Notice what moments stayed with you. This is not about overthinking. It is about noticing. When you notice, you release. When you name, you drain. Even 3 minutes of this can remove more emotional weight than hours of complaining or advice from others. It truly clears the mind. The fifth practice is to speak to yourself like a child. Before bed, sit quietly and tell yourself one kind thing, as if speaking to a small, scared child. Say, you did your best today. It's okay to feel tired. Say, I am proud of you for not giving up. You made it through another day. These soft words matter. They heal your self-image. Because often the most dangerous dirt inside your mind is not fear, but self-hatred. You made it through the day, and that is enough.
You are safe now. If you say this to yourself daily, you will slowly heal your self-image. The heaviest dirt in the mind is not fear, but self-hatred. Another powerful practice is micro-forgiveness. Each day, choose one small thing to forgive. Forgive someone who interrupted you. Forgive a past version of yourself. Forgive a mistake that still hurts. Forgive a friend who ignored your message. Or forgive a painful moment. Say quietly, I release you. I am done carrying this. My peace matters more. You don't need an apology. You don't need anyone to explain. You only need to put it down and walk lighter without carrying the old weight. Pick any 3 practices we discussed and try them tonight before bed. Make them part of your ritual, just like brushing your teeth. When your mind is clean, you sleep more deeply, you speak more softly, you focus more clearly, you dream bigger. You are no longer controlled by chaos. Instead, you control your space. You are not too sensitive. You are not overreacting. You are not broken. You are simply overcrowded. And when something is too full, even the lightest touch can break it. That is why cleaning your mind must become a daily habit. Not when you collapse, not when you cry, not when life forces you. Do it before it is too late. Do it because you deserve clarity and lasting peace. Peace is not a gift that falls from the sky. Peace is a habit. And now let us move to another truth. You cannot stop negative thoughts by screaming at them. You cannot silence your mind by fighting harder. Most people try this. They say, I just want to stop thinking negatively. How do I shut off this voice? I am tired of it. So they fight. They push. They tell themselves to stop. But fighting makes it worse. The more they fight, the stronger the thought becomes. Why does this happen? Because you cannot fight thoughts with force. You can only win by replacing them. You must give your brain a new direction, not more pressure or anger.
Let me explain. When you say, I don't want to think about this, your brain only hears the subject, not the word don't. If I tell you, don't imagine a pink elephant, you will immediately see a pink elephant. It works the same way with feelings. If you say, don't feel anxious, your mind starts searching for reasons why you are anxious. By resisting, you actually create a mental storm. You give the negative thought more energy and importance. Every time you argue with a negative thought, you are telling your brain, this thought matters, this thought has power. And by doing that, the thought grows stronger. So the real solution is not to fight, but to replace. Think of it like changing the radio station. Imagine a radio in your room playing a sad and painful song. The lyrics say, you're a failure. You'll never be loved. You're too late. You're not enough. It is loud and painful. What do? Do you scream at the radio? Do you beg it to stop? Do you cry in front of it? Of course not. You change the station, turn it off, or play a better song louder. This is how replacing thoughts works. You do not beg your brain to stop. You simply give it something new. Thoughts are habits, and the only real way to break a habit is to replace it with another, better one. Here is the secret. You cannot erase a thought completely. You can only overwrite it. Your brain is like a chalkboard.
If something painful is written on it, the only way to remove it is by writing over it with truth. So when you think, "I always mess things up," replace it with, "I learned faster because I failed before." When you think, "Nobody cares about me," replace it with, "Someone loves me, even if I forget." When you think, "I'll never be successful," replace it with, "I haven't reached it yet, but I will." When you think, "I'm too sensitive," replace it with, "I feel deeply, and that is a strength." When you fear failure, ask, "What if I succeed?" These are not lies. You are not tricking yourself. You are redirecting the spotlight. You are teaching your mind to see another side. If you repeat replacements enough, they become the new default voice in your head. Imagine a large white wall, painted perfectly, but right in the center, there is a tiny black hole. Most people would walk past and admire the whole wall, but one person might stop and stare only at the hole. They keep staring. They can't stop looking at the small hole. They ignore the beauty of the rest of the wall. Soon, the little hole becomes their entire world. But the truth is, the wall never changed. Only their focus did. When people see that tiny hole in the white wall, they can't stop staring. They think, "Why is it there? Will it grow bigger? Did I cause it? I hate it." Slowly, the hole becomes their entire reality. But the truth is, the hole never changed. Only their focus changed. This is exactly how negative thoughts work. They are like small holes in a wall of beauty. But if you stare too long, they become your entire reality. You don't actually need to fix the hole. You need to step back and see the whole wall again. Replacing thoughts helps you do this. It pulls you away from the hole and shows you the bigger picture. These methods are not fake affirmations. They are tools to replace thoughts, supported by brain science and habit training. Let's look at some of them. The first is the reversal technique. This is where you flip fear into its opposite truth. For example, when you think, "I will probably fail this interview," you replace it with, "I might surprise myself and do better than I expect." You are not lying. You are giving your brain a new possibility that creates hope. Hope reduces fear. The next tool is the "so what" method. Many negative thoughts sound dramatic. What if I say something wrong? What if I lose this chance? Instead of feeding panic, ask, "So what? Will I still survive? Will I still grow?" This question cuts the drama. It makes the fear lighter and leaves more space for logic. Then comes the upgrade method, also called version 2.0 thinking. When a negative thought comes, imagine you are updating your brain's software to a better version. For example, the thought says, "I can't do this." You replace it with, "I am figuring it out." Or the thought says, "I'm not ready." You replace it with, "I am becoming more ready every day." These small upgrades create safety. Here's a practice. Write down the 3 most common negative thoughts you had this week. Then, next to each one, write a strong replacement thought. Place them on sticky notes where you can see them. Repeat them every morning and every evening.
Every time the old thought tries to return, repeat the new thought out loud. Your brain believes what it hears often, so train it, don't fight it. Repetition of truth can rewire your mind. That is how you change the voice inside. Remember, you were not born to live with a storm in your head. You cannot silence that storm by screaming at it. You can only change the weather by changing the forecast, by replacing fear with possibility and doubt with progress. Your mind is not broken. It is simply stuck playing the same old tape for too long. Now it is time to change the music. And part of this new music is learning how to talk to yourself with love. Here is a painful but important question. If another person spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would you still want to be their friend? Think about it. What kind of words do you say to yourself each day? When you make a mistake, forget something, feel tired, or get rejected, do you say, "It's okay, I'm human, I will try again"? No, most people say, "I'm so stupid, I always mess up, nobody cares about me." You may even whisper, "I hate myself sometimes, I'll never get it right." If another person said that to you even once, you would probably walk away from them. But sadly, you say these words to yourself daily, and you cannot walk away. So what happens? You live inside a house where your own voice constantly attacks you. It becomes verbal abuse from inside. Most people have an inner critic, but for some, it grows into an inner bully that attacks instead of guiding. This voice says, "You're always behind. You're not as good as them. You're weak. You're ugly. You're lazy. You don't deserve love." These words do not make you stronger. They break you slowly and make you believe things that are not true. Now imagine this. A small child, maybe 7 years old, comes to you and says, "I made a mistake today. I feel bad about myself. I think I'm not good enough." What would you say to that child? Would you shout at them? Would you say, "You're stupid, you'll never be anything, nobody likes you"? Of course not. You would hold them, look into their eyes, and say, "It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You are still worthy." You would tell them, "We can try again tomorrow." So why don't you speak to yourself in the same way? Somewhere in life, you learned to treat yourself with cruelty instead of kindness. But that pattern can and must change today. Imagine your mind is a garden, and your self-talk is the gardener. Every word you say to yourself is like planting a seed, giving water, or cutting roots. Your voice decides whether your flowers bloom or wither. If the gardener says, "This plant is useless, it will never grow, I hate it, why is it so slow?" then even the most beautiful flower will begin to die. Negative words steal life from the garden. But if the gardener says, "You are growing slowly, but you are still growing. It's okay that today was tough. You don't need to bloom every day. I believe in you," then even weak plants find courage again. Your self-talk is water, sunlight, and air for your inner world. How you speak to yourself decides whether you rise or fall. Negative self-talk is not harmless. It creates deep damage over time. It eats away at your spirit. It lowers your confidence. It kills your motivation. It creates shame. It destroys your trust in yourself. It increases anxiety. It hurts relationships. It feeds depression. Worst of all, it convinces you that you are broken and unworthy. And once you believe you are broken, you stop trying to heal. You stop asking for help. You stop believing life can be better. Not because better does not exist, but because your inner voice keeps saying you don't deserve it. Now imagine if you changed the voice. What if, after a mistake, instead of saying, "I'm so stupid," you said, "I made a mistake and I am learning"? Your mind would grow lighter and kinder with every moment. What if when you felt tired, instead of saying, "I'm lazy," you said, "I've done a lot today. I need rest, not guilt"? What if when you felt jealous, you said, "I'm human. It's okay to feel this"? This is not lying to yourself. It is treating yourself with the same kindness you already give to others. You encourage your friends, you forgive your family, you comfort a child. Why not speak with the same care to yourself? So how do you start talking to yourself with love? Let me share 5 powerful practices. The first is to give your inner critic a name. Yes, name it. This may sound strange, but it really works. When you think, "I am a failure," your critic sounds real. But if you call it Negative Nancy or Doubt Dan, you separate the voice from yourself. You say, "That's just Nancy again." You stop being the voice. You become the listener. And the listener always has a choice. The second practice is the best friend technique. When you feel low, ask, "If my best friend felt this way, what would I say to them?" Then say those exact words to yourself, out loud. You will be surprised at how loving and gentle your words become when you direct them at yourself. The third practice is the mirror moment. Stand in front of a mirror each morning for 2 minutes. Look into your own eyes softly. Do not stand there to judge your skin, your body, or your hair. Stand there to say 3 sentences. I'm trying. I'm still here. I forgive you. Your reflection has been waiting years to hear these words from you. The fourth practice is rewriting the sentence. Take any cruel phrase you repeat and rewrite it into kindness. For example, "You're a burden" becomes "Your feelings matter." "You're too dramatic" becomes "You're allowed to feel." "You're weak" becomes "You are still carrying so much." Print these rewrites. Post them on your wall. Repeat them until they start to sound normal. Your inner child is listening, and it needs this healing voice more than anything else. This practice slowly changes the story inside your head. The fifth practice is daily forgiveness. Not once a year, not only for big mistakes. Every single night, forgive yourself. Say, "Whatever I did wrong today, I forgive myself. I am still learning. I will not carry shame into tomorrow." Because guilt does not help you grow. Grace does. Sit alone in a quiet place. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I'm sorry for being cruel to you. You didn't deserve that voice. From today, I'll talk with love." Let the tears come if they do. That's not weakness. That's reconnection. You don't need to be perfect, fearless, or always strong. You just need to be kind to yourself. Because the world already has enough people ready to criticize you. Don't join them. Be the one voice in your life that says you are still worthy. You always were. You always will be. Especially now when you feel low, you need to hear kindness from the person who matters most, you.
Triggers are not always loud or obvious. They don't always knock on your door and say, "I came to ruin your peace." Sometimes they are soft. Sometimes they feel like comfort. But they quietly pull you back into an old version of yourself. That version may have been scared, doubtful, or living in constant fear. Imagine living in a room with a soft, ticking clock. Tick, tick, tick. Over time, you stop noticing the sound. It becomes background noise, always there. One day, the clock is removed. For the first time in years, you sit in silence and think, "I can't believe I was living with that noise for so long." Emotional triggers are exactly like that ticking clock. They hide in the background of your life. A person's presence, a toxic group chat, a smell, a ringtone, a place, even the setup of your bedroom. These small things can hold memories of pain that quietly disturb your peace. You wonder why you feel anxious or heavy, but you are still sleeping next to reminders of your worst memories. You are still leaving the door open for old trauma to walk in. This is how hidden triggers keep controlling you. Many people make the same mistake. They say, "I shouldn't cut people off. That's too harsh. I should be stronger. I should handle it." But listen carefully. Healing is not about proving strength. Healing is about protecting your energy and peace. Think of a fresh wound. You wouldn't run through a dusty field with it open. You would cover it, protect it, and avoid what could infect it. Your heart and mind need the same care. Avoid what makes the wound bleed again. Sometimes that means letting go of a nice but draining friend. They don't insult you, they don't attack you, but each conversation makes you feel smaller. They compete subtly. They dismiss your feelings. They remind you of your past. Let them go. Triggers also hide in unspoken expectations. That voice inside says, "I should be more successful by now. I should be married. I should be happy." But this voice is not motivation. It is a hidden whip disguised as ambition. Cut it off. Cutting off the whip does not mean cutting off your dreams. It means cutting off unfair timelines that were never yours. Life moves differently for everyone. Growth is not about rushing. Growth is about protecting yourself while you move forward, step by step. Another hidden trigger is your emotional home. Some people live in anger, not because they enjoy it, but because it feels familiar. Some live in sadness, guilt, or fear. It is the emotion they return to whenever life feels heavy.
Ask yourself, what emotion do I go back to when I feel overwhelmed? Then ask, who taught me this emotion was normal? You may realize it was never truly yours. It was passed down to you, but you don't need to keep it. Write a list called Things That Silently Pull Me Back into Darkness. Then create 3 columns. What is it? Why does it affect me? What will I do to protect myself? This is not rejection. This is self-respect. You cannot become the next version of yourself while holding on to the people, patterns, and places that made you question your worth. Wanting space is not weakness. Choosing peace over pride is wisdom. You don't owe the past another visit. You owe your future a better foundation. Think of a plant that isn't growing. You don't blame the seed. You change the environment. You protect what is blooming. In the same way, your mind needs a safe space to grow. Now that you've worked on removing darkness, it's time for the most powerful step of all. Turn your pain into power. This is the final stage, the most emotional one,
because it gives meaning to everything you have survived. If you are here, it means you've been through something. You've cried silently. You've doubted your worth. You've fought storms nobody else saw. You've tried to stay strong for others, even while breaking inside. But now you can use it all. People often say, let it go, move on, forget about it. Don't think about the past. But real healing is not about forgetting. Healing is about finding meaning in the pain, standing tall, and building something stronger from what broke you. Pain does not have to be the villain in your story. It can be the beginning of your transformation. In Japan, there is a beautiful art called kintsugi. When a bowl breaks, they repair it with real gold. The cracks are not hidden. They are filled with golden lines. This makes the bowl more beautiful, more valuable, and even stronger than before. Your pain works the same way. The cracks in your life can be filled with wisdom. Every tear, every lonely night, every fear, every betrayal, every failure, these can become the gold in your story. If you allow it, pain can transform into strength, courage, and purpose. What hurt you does not need to define you.
To turn pain into power, you must shift your perspective. First, stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You may never get a full answer to why life hurt you, but you can always choose what to do next. Instead of looking for revenge, look for rebirth. The second shift is turning emotion into expression. Every emotion is energy. Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be changed. Anxiety can become art. Anger can become boundaries. Sadness can become storytelling. Fear can become fuel. The world does not need more perfect people. The world needs people who say, here is my scar, and here is what I created from it. Your pain can inspire others if you allow it to speak. The third shift is to use your pain to help someone else. If you feel stuck, help one person who feels the same pain you once felt. You do not need a degree or a stage. You just need honesty. Sometimes the most healing words are, I've been there too, and I see you. That simple connection dissolves shame and brings light. Pain grows heavier in silence, but when shared with another human, it becomes lighter and easier to carry. The fourth shift is to build your identity around survival, not suffering. Stop saying, I was broken. Start saying, I am rebuilding. Don't say, they ruined me. Say, I rebuilt myself. Pain is a fire, but you are the gold that survived. You didn't come this far just to feel a little better. You came this far to transform. This is not only about stopping negative thoughts, it is about discovering your real power and creating a life filled with purpose and strength. Everything you survived was shaping you, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. Here's the final truth. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not your negative thoughts. You are the power that rises above them. This is your story now, your chapter, your healing, your time. You've reached the end, not the end of this journey, but the end of the version of you that thought, maybe I'll never heal. Maybe this is just who I am. Now you know something different. You've seen the enemy inside your mind. You've studied the patterns. You've cleaned out the pain. You've changed the way you speak to yourself. You've protected your energy. And you've started turning pain into power. That is not a small thing. That is transformation. That is courage. That is the start of a new life. And if nobody told you today, let me say it clearly. I am proud of you for coming this far. Not because you were perfect, but because you showed up tired, scared, broken, unsure, and still tried. You kept listening. You stayed until the end. That means you are ready. Your thoughts do not control you. You control which thoughts stay. You control your healing. You control your pace. You control your story. If you keep showing up like you did today, your life will never be the same again. Small steps repeated daily become a powerful transformation over time. You are already walking forward. If this journey touched your heart, if it made you feel understood, stronger, or seen, then continue. Keep learning, keep growing, keep healing. Even if you are still learning English, you belong here. You are not behind. You are part of this journey. Here you are understood. Here you are safe. Here you are rebuilding. Thank you for staying. Thank you for fighting. Thank you for showing up. I believe in you. Now go and become the person you were always meant to be.